Hey kids, and welcome to Aerocam's Grotto of Reviewing Delight. And today we're reviewing Airwheel accessories. There's an Airwheel, in my case an X5, and here are some accessories. I'm going to aim, hopefully in under 5 minutes, to talk you through them. Let's start with the accessories that come with it. So first of all, you're going to get this little bag here, which contains your instructions, which are pretty perfunctory, but you know, get you started, do give you a general idea of what's going on. But more importantly, you don't want to lose that little brass thing there, because that little brass thing connects with another brass thing that's under the other side of that wheel, and that is the only way you're going to get air into that tyre. So when I bought this other non-included accessory, this pump here, we have yet to see whether this connection and the pull-out thing that comes out of it is going to match with that one over there or that one over there, but we haven't had to pump it up yet, so we'll see. Right, so anyway, that's the useful accessories. Things you might want to use for about 10 minutes and then throw away, they're all in this pile over here. So the stabiliser wheels, they may seem like a good idea at the time. Likewise the strap, you'll want to hang on to it for dear life to start off with, but very very quickly you realise that you need to just cast these things aside, because they're actually making it a lot harder for you to learn. They're breaking your turns whenever you try and learn and do them properly. They're really causing you to fall off it a lot when you go over any sort of bumpy ground, simply because those wheels are massively inferior to that massive one over there, which deals with bumps and rough surfaces and all kinds of grass and lordy knows what, absolutely fine. So, in the bin with those, but I keep them mainly because a lot of my friends keep wanting a go on it, and it is, if we're honest, the only way to get them up and running pretty much immediately. So keep that on to be social, but never use them yourself. Okay, so the next thing you'll probably need, certainly in my case, because I'm a keyboard player and I need to keep these little hands in tip-top playing condition, I needed some wrist guards here. So let me just put one of those on, and I'll tell you a bit more about those. Now, if you're on a bike, the thing you probably most want to look after is your head, because you're on a frame and you're probably going to fall off it one way or another, which means that your head has got a pretty high chance of contacting the ground. So, whereas I am going to get a helmet and just wear a little light one like that, on an Airwheel like this, or any sort of, you know, one-wheel platform, really your head isn't the thing you need to worry about most, it's your wrists, because you're going to fall off it a lot by running forwards or losing balance, and what's going to happen is that your hands are immediately going to come out and try and land under you, and that's going to result in some really horrible grazed wrists and sprained wrists and possibly even broken wrists. But it's also going to sort of really scuff up your palms and like maybe graze your knuckles, and it's going to be a pretty horrible experience. So just to show you what that looks like, when your normal hand comes down after a fall, this is pretty much what's happening. You come down like that to rescue yourself, you push, and then sometimes the weight of your body carries you forward, so you've got a horrible twist point there right on the wrist, and of course you've gone skidding across the gravel with your palms, and so all the important bits for me with piano playing, like, you know, those knuckles there, the actual fingertips, the knuckles at the back and the wrist itself, have all been put in terrible, terrible danger. However, if you've got one of these on both hands, there's the other one, not on me, which is basically a strain protector, a wrist guard. What this has got is a sort of, let's say, a high impact plastic bar that runs the whole length of the glove on the inside, which means that as I hit the ground, bang, all that impact is spread out suddenly from here right down to the other end of it, and hopefully I'm not going to end up with horrible grazes all over my palm. On the other side, there's another plastic bar, bent at, I don't know if you can see it, bent at a slightly less extreme angle, and what that does is stops my wrist from bending too far in that direction. So as I push down to the ground and lean forward, I find that my wrist is protected because it can't go further forward than that. Apologies for my shorts, it's extremely hot. Okay, so that's the wrist guards. Let me just take that one off and then we'll carry on. Right, we talked about helmet before, and this is pretty much the cheapest helmet I could get. It was like 20 quid from Halfords, and I was largely drawn to it because it was not too big, black and white, very light, very cheap, and had this slightly tacky but I suspect rather useful LED light on the back. Oh, see if we can grab hold of it. So we won't see that in this light at all. but if we press that, that flashes, and at night that's actually very bright and very useful. And having looked in the instruction manual, I see the battery is easily changeable, but that's part of this whole mechanism that loosens and releases the strap, sorry, tightens and releases the strap, which is very good because it means it fits exactly my head like it's supposed to. It's incredibly light, it's not going to get in my way much. The only thing that is annoying about it is that there's not really many places to mount a GoPro to, which I'd like to have done in my original plan. You'd think, wouldn't you, that we could just pop one there, but that's actually way backwards of the centre of gravity, and that's going to mean that if I have to tilt the camera forward to see the ground or anything that's really going on in front of the rider, we're going to see the helmet as well, which is not really the view I want. So I think we're going to go, view-wise, I think we're going to go for a Keychain Cam, ultimately positioned just under there, maybe with some Velcro, maybe with some moon gel, something like that, and that's going to give us a nice solid 1080 HD, really low to the ground, so hopefully producing nice fast looking footage, and that's going to give us a nice video feed that we can use to make exciting videos of the places we go. Right, okay, next up in the protection department, shaking our light is off, is actually the towels and the scarf. Now I've got these here. This is a bit of a sort of DIY have a go Henry effort before I went and bought any of this Armour over here, and this was really to protect my shins from over practice. When you first get one of these, all you want to do is practice. You just want to get on it and ride, and you find that you can't do it and it won't work and it just won't go where you want and it hurts and it hurts and it hurts, and then suddenly you can do it and it's brilliant. But if you've done that without any break or having adequate rests, you find that you start getting shin injuries like this one. As you can see, big pressure point there where I spent a whole morning doing 100 dismounts, getting on and getting off again to try and get good at that, but I was actually doing it wrongly and teaching myself how to do it in a rather sort of ineffective way. So what's actually happened is the rubber has just pressed in to the same point again and again and again and done that, and now the only way I can continue is to wrap that leg up in several layers of scarf, and this is a nice fleecy scarf, so just a few layers of that works well. You've probably seen it in my other videos, how that just wraps around the leg. On the other leg, which I did for balance, there's no injuries there, but for balance I just thought, right, well, I'll stick a towel around that one and strap it on, and that seems to give a reasonable result. My legs feel evenly spaced from the centre line, which is the main point. And then lastly, in the Armour department, if you're as thin as I am, and mainly composed of sort of skin and bone and a few bits of stringy muscle holding it all together, you're probably going to want to protect the bits that really hurt when you fall down, and those are knees and elbows. And so I also got these cheap little set of pads that came with the wrist guards, even though they were the main motivation. I was very pleased to get these too, and I think that was 20 quid in a little string bag, also from Halfords. Possibly the cheapest ones they did. Might even have been designed for kids, but because I'm so small in the frame department, I can get away with it, and that worked out very well. Right, okay, so that's the end of the guards you're likely to need. You really don't need anything more than that. If I go ahead and get a bodysuit to cover my back and, upper torso, that'll be because I am truly afraid of pain and have got a really, fragile rib cage. So maybe, perhaps on really rough ground, I will be feeling the need to encase that in something a bit more tough than my skin. But apart from that, most people who are fitter than me and, have got a bit more fat on them than I have, won't need to bother with any of that. And in fact, as all the Korean guys on YouTube are showing us, you actually don't need any Armour at all to safely ride one of those, as long as you don't ride it stupidly. Anyway, so let's move on to the next bit, which is camera stuff. Here we've got a GoPro 3, and I'm filming this on a GoPro 2. Why aren't I using my GoPro 3 to film this, you may wonder? And the answer is because the GoPro 3 made a fatal flaw when they upgraded the design and everything. They didn't include an external microphone port. So what I'm using is a lovely stereo microphone that I've nicked off my M-Audio recorder. I say recorder, it's a portable field recorder, and it comes with a stereo mic with some windshields, and I've just nicked that off and plugged that straight into the GoPro 2, which gives me much higher quality sound than I'd ever get out of a GoPro on its own. Now, I don't know if you saw my videos yesterday of riding in the park, but I'm using the open-backed frame for the GoPro 3 as on a chest mount, and that seems to work pretty well because it means I can aim it down like that at the sorry, it's not a Solowheel, it's an Airwheel. I can aim it down at that so that I can see what the Airwheel's doing, and then I can very quickly just flick it upwards and see what, you know, that's pretty much ground level, and then I can go not very much further back up, but when you're level, that's pretty much showing you the sky and things going on in the background. So, whereas it's not going to be as good as a pole cam, like that one over there, we've got that coming later, got to learn how to use that first, and retain balance. So there we go, there's a chest cam. There are all sorts of mounts that come with the GoPro. No doubt I will find somewhere to put a GoPro mount on my X5, but I haven't decided yet. And until I get some more padding on the rubber things and see how much clearance I've got under the footrests, to see if I can get a keychain camera in there, I have yet to decide if a GoPro mounted on that is a good idea at all. But anyway, in the meantime, we keep riding. We use the cheap and effective accessories we've got. Let's face it, all this lot has cost under 55 quid, which is not bad if it gives us really any level of protection from the wheeling about we can do on one of those. Because it might be pretty much the most fun thing you can do with your clothes on, apart from flying multi-rotors. Haven't forgotten those, and don't worry, there'll be more videos about that soon. But it's nice to do it safely, as my parents and all my friends have finally convinced me. So go out into the world, ride around, have fun, make videos, share them with me. That's all for now. JW over and out. Just a little update to the previous video. The other thing you might need is a handy little backpack. And there's no better kind of backpack I've found for wheeling about the place than basically a normal cycling backpack, which you can get for about 30 quid, and has got all the normal sort of things that you'd expect to find that will help you out on your wheel as much as they will help bicycling people out on their bicycles. So, you know, drinks holders, separate little pouches, loads and loads of space and pockets and sort of holders and Velcro inside, and then this handy, horribly fluorescent rain cover that you can fit over the whole thing when it's raining, which keeps it nice and waterproof. There you go, 30 quid, which brings our total Airwheel accessories cost so far to £80. Not so bad. See you next time, kids.